All right. Yeah, I mean, look, you're coming off a game where you played a really good football team, and we didn't play very good on offense or defense. I think special teams, really, other than the mishap, with the fair catch signal that, really wasn't what Bill was trying to do, played really well on teams. But on offense and defense, didn't play very well, didn't give ourselves a chance. And the reality of it is to go into a game like that with the team we're playing, we're going to have to play really, really good football. On offense, we could kind of put together some productive runs, and then you get behind the sticks, and we didn't protect very well on third downs, could not convert on third downs and keep drives alive. So the defense is back on the field. Even in the run game on defense, you got to give them a lot of credit, but we did some things. We were trying to backdoor outside zones and things like that, and stuff that we've done a really good job of hammering the gap and forcing it back to the help. We didn't do very well. We were able to get some pressure on the quarterback when we got him behind the sticks on defense, which was a good thing. We forced a turnover. Had another one, where you punch it out, but ends up crossing the goal line before. So did some things there. I think on defense we're playing extremely hard. On offense, knew we were going to have to be able to run the football to be able to have a chance to move the ball and have some drives. And then, we weren't able to do that. And then the protection, when we had to drop back and throw, it wasn't very good either. The precision in the pass game, continues to be an issue, obviously. And I told our team this, look, it's disappointing to lose anytime you lose. It's disappointing to lose by a score like that. It's just really, I just want to see our guys play to not even the potential, just play the standard that I've seen them set, throughout spring ball and fall camp. I know, keep saying it, it doesn't matter what anybody thinks. We have the group in there that I know we can go and we can get this thing going on offense and get it right where we want it to be. Because I've seen them do it, in practice settings. I think as a staff, we got to get back, and I've got to help our quarterback get in rhythm. Got to help our receivers get some confidence, because confidence is it's a hell of a thing. When you have it, it's really hard to beat a confident football team, and it's really hard to guard a confident player. When you don't have it, it shows up over and over again. And, that's the thing. We're a little bit off here and there everywhere on offense right now. And the only way you do is you get back and you work back through it. Fortunately, we should have some guys back on the offensive line, which helps a little bit. But I thought the guys that stepped in and played did a really good job. I thought Jacoby Isom played really well. I thought Matt B played pretty good. Thought Gooch did some good things. So, it'll be good for those guys in the long run. But, we got to get this thing going before we get to conference. And, we get a chance to go play a tune-up game before you get into conference. Got to start playing really good when you get to conference so you have a chance to make a run. And almost every good season I've been a part of here has had struggle in the beginning of the year. It's all about the way you handle it and the way you keep moving forward and the belief that you got to keep and you've got to cultivate, and you got to have a spark, and you got to hit your stride and go. I mean, you can go back to some of the best years we've had. 2020, start out with a huge win, and then it was two really poor performances after that we barely won. We had to figure it out and get on a roll. In 21, we weren't playing very well earlier in the year. Well, we just kept our confidence and kept working through it, started playing really good on offense. Defense carried us for a while. Last year, we beat two teams that, we should have beat the first 2 weeks. Dropped one at home that was heartbreaking because we gave it away. And then we caught fire and got on a run. So these are things that happen. And, the ebbs and flows of a season, it's crazy when you look back on it. For us right now, everything's in front of us. And this week is critically important. We've got to find a way, like I said, to get some rhythm, get our throw game going, can't abandon it. Got to find a way to create some explosives in the throw game and really just some efficiency because in the long run, that's what we're going to have. So it's a great week for us to get on track. We got to travel. We got a chance to go on the road. Got a chance to try to do it better on the road this time than we did last week. And certainly, like I said, the big thing here is we got to go play really good football and build some confidence and build some momentum going into the conference play.
Obviously, you lost the star. We saw that. Is Mackey going to be back, and is anyone that didn't play last week could play this week?
So I think Caden Morrow will be back for sure, which is good. He practiced yesterday. He looked good moving around. Mackey, I'm not sure. I would say he's probably doubtful right now to questionable. Elam is certainly going to be out. We still don't know. we know what the injury was, but there's a lot of things that go into that. So we have some they did x-rays and CT scans. We need to do some MRIs and things like that, see the extent of it, but he'll be out for an extended period of time. Other than that, though, I think we should be, I'm trying to think if there's anybody else, we should be fine, other than those guys.
When you look at a 52-10 tape against a really good team, if you were thinking about any personnel changes, which y'all did from week 1 to week 2, you kind of have to throw that tape out, or did y'all get anything that could make such decisions out of that?
No, hell, I mean, look, like I said, getting beat by 40 points is one thing when you feel like your kids went out there and executed really well. We're still doing some of the same things that are frustrating. And, yeah, I know we had some moving pieces on offense with different guys in there, but those are guys that have been playing. The thing we talked about is we have to promote competition every day. And, the guys that perform well in practice, they need to get an opportunity in the game. And that's across the board. All right, that's from nose guard to safety, and from center to quarterback and everything in between. Like, everyone has to feel like there's competition and they have to go compete for it. And, I keep going back to it. Our game day performances are just not reflective of what we've seen in practice in a lot of areas. And that's a tough thing to, what is it? Is it anxiety? Is it just not getting in rhythm? Is it when something bad happens, it's like, oh, here it is again. I don't know what that is. But you got to work through it. And, again, once you have some success breeds success, and it builds off of it. So, yeah, I mean, we're constantly trying to evaluate and move people around and see who's playing better and trying to give them more opportunities. But that never stops. I mean, whether you win or you lose, and, whether you win by 50 or lose by 50, I mean, you're constantly trying to promote competition and trying to make guys step up and play better.
What was the vibe of the trip back to Lafayette, specifically with your quarterbacks and the wide receivers on the way back from Missouri?
I don't know about them specifically. I mean, the vibe was not very good. We knew we didn't play very well, which I think was, I mean, it's not to be a certain type of way here, but like, the kids want to play good, and they prepare and they work really hard to go play good. Nobody's more frustrated than they are when they don't perform to the level they expect to play at. The thing about it, when you lose a game like that and you feel the way you do on Sunday, as a coaching staff, you have to be very matter of fact. This is not good enough, and here's why. Here's the things we need to do to have success here, and you move on. I don't believe in sitting in a meeting room and just browbeating somebody for not playing well that I know prepared really hard and I know tried really hard to go out there and go play well, and they didn't. It was a tough environment to play in. It was a really good environment against a really good football team, and we did not handle it very well. We get this thing on a run, like I told them. I said, get on a run, and you get in a championship game. A championship environment feels like that, and we got to handle it better next time. And we'll play in some big games, hopefully at home and on the road, that are going to be really great environments, and we got to handle it better. I don't know if that's what it was or not, but no, I mean, the vibe's not very good when you get your tail handed to you like that. But the response was really good. Yesterday, came out here, flew around, guys were ready to go, and that's what you have to do. I mean, we want to win them all, but you're going to stumble sometimes, and you got to move forward and learn from it.
Given the struggles in the passing game, is there maybe even an element where obviously teams are going to see that and they're going to play you a different way, but maybe can that open some stuff up, given that they might, be keen and on the run, get your stuff on the outside?
Yeah, it can. I mean, it gives you some one-on-one opportunities that, again, I know we can win. We have not won, so I get everybody saying, whatever, but we can win, right? It's going to give you opportunity to take shots over the top. If people play one-on-one, you got to put the ball in a good spot. You got to win on the rep, and you got to go get it. But, yeah, I mean, it gives you other opportunities. I mean, I keep saying this, we're not going to abandon it and throw it away. We have got to work through it. I mean, we found a way to manufacture a throw game, really every year since we've been here. Right now, that stat line on Saturday was absurd. I've never seen anything like that. We got to find a way to manufacture some throw game like we have in the past, and that means that we've got to operate with a lot more precision across the board. And, we're going to continue to throw the ball. We're going to continue to try to design better stuff to get our guys in rhythm. But, if people are going to start doing that thing and loading the boxes and trying to press and play man, then you got to win. And we got some guys who can win. So, like I said, it just takes a spark, and it takes someone figuring it out, and we go back, there's a lot of examples of this, and it's all about what you do going forward, about the way your guys respond, and the response and the leadership has been really good. So, we'll work through it. We'll grind it out. And in the end, this will be something that, we talk about, it was really tough early on, and these guys stuck together and found a way to get this thing rolling and figure it out.
Coach, go ahead.
Coach, kind of going off of that, do you feel like figuring out things offensively with the play calling, is it getting more creative, or is it kind of just sticking to what you guys know best?
Well, that's $1 million question, isn't it? No, seriously, I'm not being funny. I think it's you work year round on things that you think that fit your offense, right? And we have those things, and we're not executing them really well right now. So more than new plays and new things, it's maybe just being more creative in the way that we package it. If that makes any sense, we work really hard here to try to hone in on what we think this team is going to be. And look, you have things that happen that every year that kind of change maybe the shape of your team a little bit, right? And we've been able to adjust and adapt to that well over the years, whether it's injuries at quarterback or on the O-line or wherever it was. And that's what we've got to do. We've got to find a way to maybe package some things differently. But it's still invested reps that we have. You don't go 15 practices in the spring, where you get 2,000 team reps, and you don't go, 18, 19 practices in fall camp where you get the same amount of reps and just throw it all away. We have a lot of invested reps. We have to find a better way to get our guys to execute it, and we got to help them do that. And so sometimes that's just packaging some things differently and trying to find some rhythm in the way you're doing it.
Something viewers have expressed to me, Coach, is when they watched that game, after the first quarter, they believed they saw the team quit. What do you say to people that think that after watching the game?
That's fine. I mean, people are entitled to feel the way they want to feel. I know what we have in our building. I know the character that's in there. If I was a fan, I'd be disappointed with that effort, with the way that game went too. Those guys don't quit. So everyone's entitled to feel the way they want to feel. I say it all the time. I think the negative comments, or it's frustrating at times, and that's the thing that you try to keep out of the building. But fan engagement and enthusiasm is part of what makes football so great. So you take the good with the bad, and everyone's entitled to an opinion. Outside opinions don't matter, can't affect us. And that was, brought it up. That was the message to the team this week. Unplug from things that are distractions. Unplug from things that create negativity. Unplug from things that don't help our progress, and immerse yourselves in the things that do. Immerse yourselves in the film study, right? In the positive conversations, in the positive relationships, in your schoolwork, because it's productive. It gets you moving forward, right? And going to church and reading the Bible and going to Bible study and doing things that bring you peace and clarity, because there's a lot of negativity, especially when you're not playing great, and you have to unplug from those things a little bit. Otherwise, it can create more doubt, right? It can create more division. And that's a challenge in today's world, but it's something that we have to do. We have to unplug from things that are not going to help us make progress and things that are not going to help us move forward. And we've got to immerse ourselves in the things that will.
You mentioned the leadership on the offensive side looked good, kind of responding. Does that look different at all given the youth at quarterback right now? Is that just kind of been across the board?
No, I mean, we have a lot of veteran players that are back, and those guys have been through this. It's funny, Jax was talking about it yesterday, and the leadership, met with the team on Sunday. They asked me if they could, which, it's kind of funny to me. I want the leadership to lead, so of course. And Jax, he's told him, he's like, I've been in this position pretty much every year since I've been here, where there's adversity early on. And I've been on teams that we looked it in the eye and we just attacked it head on. And I've been on teams that didn't handle it very well. He goes, and I've seen seasons go both ways. I thought his message was really strong. The defensive guys were the same way. They know that on defense, we didn't play our best game on Saturday. Even though the first 2 weeks, I think we played great on defense. We don't want to be an every other week type of team. So when you're in these positions and situations like this, it requires extreme ownership from everyone involved. It takes everyone looking in the mirror and saying, how can I do my job better to help this football team? And, when your leadership is the ones that are spearheading that, and they're the ones that are the first ones to say, hey, I've got to do my job better here, it trickles down, and the coaches are the same way, talked about it as a coaching staff. On offense, we've done it before. Got to find a way to manufacture some offense. Got to do it. Whatever that takes, whatever that means, got to find a way to do it. On defense, we got to keep challenging our defense to keep playing with the techniques and eye discipline that we need to play to be successful, and keep finding ways to put guys in position to have success. And then it trickles down. No one person's responsible for where we are right now. No one position group. It's extreme ownership and it's accountability for doing our jobs better across the board. That's the thing about being on a team is when you're on a really good team and everybody bands together and everybody kind of circles the wagons, these types of things can galvanize you. When you're on a team where there is some splintering and things like that, these are the types of things that kind of break you apart a little bit. So, we'll find out a lot about our team going into this week, the way we approach practice this week, the way we go out and perform on the road, and then heading in a conference. But no, the leadership's been really good. And we're fortunate. We have guys that have been here for a long time. And that's, it's just kind of funny to hear them say it's like we've been in this position pretty much every year where there's some adversity earlier in the year, and it's a decision that we got to make and what we're going to do and how we're going to approach it. So, no, I'm proud of leadership. I said this after week one. We got too many people in this building that are too talented and care too much for us not to get this thing where we want it. So, every day, every week, no matter how everybody feels on Saturday, the sun comes up on Sunday and you get back to the next one.
What are you expecting to see out of Eastern Michigan this weekend? And then what's the message to your guys heading into this last game before conference?
Well, first of all, the message is like I was saying earlier. Let's go build some confidence in this thing. Let's go get on the road. Let's go play good football, right? Let's go play our brand of football. Let's go play physical on both sides. Let's go play with precision and build confidence going into conference play. Conference play is going to be one of those that you better play good every week. All right, that's just what it's going to be. And this is like the first conference game for us if you look at it that way. We've got to go play well. They do a lot on defense, a lot of stuff coverage-wise on the back end, a lot of different run fits to try to get the extra hat in the box. They've had some injuries. I don't know if that's going into this week, but they played Kentucky a little bit differently. They had one of their key players was out. One of their better linebackers was out. So you got to prepare kind of for all of it. It was still kind of within the range of the scope of what they do a little bit, but it was a little bit different. So defensively, they're gonna try to add an extra hat to the box in a bunch of different ways. It's not the same guy all the time. It's a little bit different, different pressures, move the front a little bit. On offense, watching them on offense, they're gonna work to establish a run, but they have no hesitation to sit back there and throw it either. They have two really good backs, and they do a good job. They'll play in two-back sets, and they'll kind of do some things and try to get one of them out fast to the flat and do some things. Their quarterback does a good job. We played him last year at Coastal. Good athlete, throws it really well on the run, good arm. Their receivers are playing good football. They're making plays down the field. They have been behind in all three games they've played so far, so maybe that might skew the numbers a little bit, but they are not scared to drop back there and throw it as much as they need to. So, that's what I think. If we can stop the run on defense and we can do a really good job there and kind of limit their production there and turn into a game where they've got to drop back and throw it, I think that's probably fits in our favor. I think we do a good job with coverage disguises. I think we've done a good job playing man and zone. I think we've done a good job getting pressure on the quarterback with the four-man rush and with some pressures whenever we get them behind the sticks a little bit. So I think that's going to be a key for us, like it always is. They're really, really big up front, which a lot of these MAC schools we play kind of always seem to be. that's always going to be a key matchup in every game that we play. And I think if we can do that on defense, I think we can have some success and make them one-dimensional. I think when they're ahead of schedule on the sticks, doing things that they can mix up run and pass, that's always what makes it a little bit dangerous. So, it's a team that, look, Coach Creighton has won a bunch of games there. They found ways to turn seasons around before. They found ways to go out there and scratch it out and keep you close in the fourth quarter and find ways to win it. They're not going to lay down. We're playing them at their place. So they're going to be ready to play, and we'll be ready to play. We need to go play well is what we need to do.
Their running back and receiver, what kind of running back and receivers are they?
I think their receivers are very I think they're well-rounded, I guess is kind of what I would get to. They run a lot of they get them, they get the ball to them in space and some speed sweeps and things like that a little bit. But, in the drop back pass game, they just kind of work the windows and work through there and make plays down the field. I think they play with precision in the throw game, which is what we're looking for. Their running backs, I think, do a really good job. They got some make you miss and some wiggle. They'll run through tackles. I think their offensive skill is really good. I think those guys do a really good job. They try to put them in space. They try to run some of the split flow stuff where they try to throw it out there, block the perimeter, and do some things like that and get the ball to them on the perimeter, which kind of messes with your eyes a little bit on defense. So, I think it's a pretty well-rounded group on offense. Go back, really, they didn't play great probably against LIU. They kind of went for it, got stopped on a couple times, even on their side of the field, that set them back. But really, against Kentucky, moved the ball and scored points. Against Texas State, and moved the ball and scored points. Had some things in the Texas State game that kind of maybe put Texas State out in front in the beginning of the fourth quarter and kind of put it out of reach. But even after that, they came back and scored, I think 10 points in the fourth quarter and kept pressure on them. So I think it's a good offensive unit. I think we can help ourselves if we can stop the run, though, and make it one-dimensional.